If you've been keeping up with my videos for the past few weeks, then you'll know that I've been playing a ton of Bannerlord. Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, that is. And I've been quite busy with a multitude of activities. These include things like jousting, trying to overcome reality, getting blown up by my own doors, watched an orc try to read, and then proceeded to fight as an orc myself. If you've been wondering how I've been doing so, it's all through the mod called the Old Realms. It's a total conversion mod that takes Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord and turns it into the Warhammer Fantasy universe. I've really been enjoying myself and you all seem to like the content. But the top two questions I've been getting are, what is the mod and how do I get it to work? And so my friends, I, Mr. Dimoff, will show you exactly what you need to do to download the mod and make sure that it works perfectly fine. Alright, let's get into it. This will be fun because I'm going to take you guys directly from my editing and show you exactly how I would do it when I installed it and all the requirements that you're going to need. Find our Steam, load it up, my library, and find Bannerlord. As you can see, I have way too many games. Now I'm playing on 1.3.15, that is the version that you have to play with the mod, so if you have a different version, make sure that that is correct. Alright, so we're going to go to the workshop here, and I'm not a huge fan of the way they changed up the workshop, even though I'm sure I'll get used to it over time. But you would come down here and you would look up the Old Realms. Another way to really find it is you would look at the compatibility, and I think there used to be a area where you could actually click, yeah, total conversion. It's a total conversion or total overhaul. Anyway, so the Old Realms. These are the three that you are going to need. Click on the Old Realms core. Now, when you download it, it'll ask you, do you want these other mods come along with it, and they are required. You 100% have to have these other mods if you want the main mod to work. Also, if you do want to find the manual for the game, it is right here. Super convenient, very easy to use. Everything will pull up on the left side. It's a bit different than your phone. If you pull it up on your phone, you just scroll straight down. On this one, you actually have to click on the areas, but I think that makes it a little bit easier. This is the installation instructions, and this is very important. If you do have the previous mods, make sure that you uninstall them. You have to make sure that you do subscribe to all the correct mods. Of course, Harmony has to be on top. Make sure it's checked. Birthing and aging. Turned into Mike Tyson right there.
What do you mean by that? You broke?
Back is broken.
What, a vertebrae or what portion?
Spinal.
So birthing and aging is just part of TW, which is the company that makes the game, so anything that's labeled that is actually just part of the game. It's not going to affect the Old Realms. Your character does not age, and you actually cannot have children in the Old Realms, so that is a change from the vanilla game. This is the order that you're going to need the next three mods, and to ensure all of this is actually clicked properly, we're going to click Play Bannerlord, and when it loads up, this is the next important step. Not exactly the smallest game, especially when you add 1 million mods. And there are tons of mods for this game, by the way. This just happens to be my favorite. There's a Game of Thrones mod, there is a Feudal Japan mod, there's a Lord of the Rings mod. This one, though, I think is definitely the most refined. The Shokuho, the Japanese one, is wonderful as well. Alrighty, so as you can see up here, I have Harmony. Now, even though it does say that, yeah, Red could not verify pretty much anything, it's not an issue. I wouldn't worry about it. Also, make sure that your Harmony is 2.4.2. There are different versions of Harmony. That's huge. The UI extender, that is fortunate that it works with the mod. Not many other mods do work with the Old Realms. And coming down here, you're just going to need to make sure that you check these three. Make sure that they are in the right order. And I did a few other things. If you really are having a hard time taking any sort of settlement or anything right away early in the game, until you form a kingdom, you can actually do a thing where you can have clan armies, and so you don't need to actually form a kingdom, and you can take all 4 of your parties and put them in an army together. That makes it so that you don't have to join someone else's kingdom or work your ass off to just try to be able to take your first settlement. And then item quality indicators, something I also like, as well as rename companions because I was doing a Malachi McKyson campaign. And then RTS camera is just something I use actually for editing. But I think it's pretty funny because at that point I'm just playing Warhammer Total War. We're just going to say play. It's going to caution me of all these different mods together saying they're not going to work. And this is where a lot of people, including myself, actually almost didn't play the game. Your first time loading in is actually going to take like 45 minutes to an hour and a half. And that's because it's basically loading every single shader in the entire Old Realms mod. And that takes a while. So yeah, so if this screen pulls up, you're doing something right. Now, of course, if anyone has any questions, I am more than happy to answer any sort of messages on Instagram or YouTube, and you can message me privately. I do not mind. And if it freezes like this, that is not an issue. You do not have to worry. Alrighty, it looks like we're actually loading into the game. So, one thing I do want to mention is there are many times that the game may freeze or pause, and that's generally just because it's actually loading shader cache. It does not mean that your game is going to crash on you. Also, sometimes you may get an error message on the screen and it'll say retry, 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 and you keep clicking it, it's not going to happen. Eventually you can click cancel, or you just click cancel from the beginning, and it will actually load in properly, so you don't have to close the game if the retry doesn't work. You just press cancel and you will load into whatever scenario properly. Like say if you're loading into a tavern or into a city and it's having a hard time. So once here, play it as you would every other version of Bannerlord. You would enter the old world though to create your new character. And that is everything that is actually required to download the mod and get it to work properly. But again, if you do have any questions, just shoot me a message. I'm here and I'm happy to help. If you found this video helpful and you like my content, please help me out by giving a like and subscribe. And hopefully we'll see you in the future. Have a good day.